This is Dropping Hints.
I'm Alex.
I'm Silas.
In this podcast, you'll catch a glimpse of our everyday conversations. I got a question for you. What do you think of Satan?
Hate him.
Now, what do you think makes a good story good? What makes a good story good?
Personal impact. Personal attachment.
What do you mean by that?
So, everybody has their first exposure to, like,
What?
Star Wars.
COVID?
Polio. The Bible. Nudity.
Okay.
I'm just spitballing here. Everything is going up.
Silence, we have younger listeners.
Hi, welcome back. We're glad you're here.
Everybody
has their first exposure to some story of some kind. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, we're not talking about other experiences. We're talking about stories.
We're not. Yeah, and the context to that is really important. Like when I was first, saw like, if you think like Avatar or something like that, it was different than when I first saw like Halo, because the context was different. When I first saw Halo, the first Halo game I ever played was Halo 3 ODST, which happens between Halo 2 and Halo 3 and is contextually a standalone game, but also just doesn't really make much sense unless you know like about the Halo lore and the Halo story. So that was my first exposure, and then I played Halo 3 after that, and I didn't understand like what was going on. I was like, I didn't know that the elites were ever bad. I thought the elites were just always good because they were so friendly and happy, telling jokes all the time. But then I found out that in Halo 1 and 2, the elites were bad guys. And then they, the Arbiter directed them in the right way. So contextually, that changes things. So if my first experience with those things was really questionable, or like, if I didn't have a good time with them, or if I wasn't shown them in the right time, what I'm saying is nostalgia.
I like that word.
Or like Lord of the Rings, obviously.
Well,
we've spoken endlessly about it, but
it's
there's that Game Boy game.
That your first example was a video game. Because I wouldn't necessarily equate a video game as having story.
Blasphemer.
I don't deny it. Does have. They do have stories.
A heretic. That's that video game reference from Halo.
Yeah. Video games do have a lot of story now. I mean, if you went back to like the age of like,
if you went to like Pong. Maybe they didn't have
we both
story.
Thought of Pong. Yeah, there's no story there. But video games nowadays, there's story, except for these battle royale games. Anyway, I digress. Yeah. It's interesting that you brought up a video game as a first example, because I would think of, when I thought of what makes a good story good, my mind goes to, okay, I'm thinking about books, I'm thinking about mostly fiction, I'm thinking about some movies, not really TV shows, maybe.
Monk.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like a saga.
Yeah.
I don't know the word for, it's not just, there's many standalone stories that comprise it. So TV series are a little bit different. Our cat is perfectly healthy.
I don't know if that's audible even, to be honest.
He's fine. He's fine. Okay. He's not trapped against his will.
It's fine. He's fine.
Yeah. So I think that what makes a good story good, in my opinion, one of the elements, because there are many, but one of the things that I think makes it good is, can I resonate with the characters in the story? Do I see any part of myself in them? And by that, I mean, do I see some of who I would like to be, who I dream to be, who I am currently, my strengths and weaknesses, my triumphs and my tragedies? Do I see any of those things? Can I resonate on any level? with the characters in the story. So you have a lot of classic examples of stories where the hero is kind of like the underdog of the story, and it's about their struggle from finding out who they are. It's kind of cliche, like, oh yeah, like just finding out who they are and then the struggle. But I think that's what makes a good story good, is that it's relatable to you as the reader or the viewer if it's a film, whatever the case may be. But being able to have a connection with the characters, because that draws you into the story, that keeps you engaged. It at least for me, I see myself in some of those characters. I see who I want to be in some of those characters. So
I don't really consciously do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I unconsciously do that, because a lot of times people talk about that and I'm like, I just don't think the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, like I don't like project myself onto them, but then in a way I do, because like I'll make quotes of things that they say, because I'm like, I want to,
and then you tie yourself to the character
as like this, like,
yeah.
if I have a chance to
like
quote.
take for example, like Star Wars, because probably a lot of people know that
Mm-hmm.
we like it, and probably a lot of people like it. So Luke Skywalker, right? In A New Hope, he's just the young kid who wants to go to Tadashi Station, buy power converters with his friends, but he gets swept up in this grand adventure, and he goes off and ends up I was about to say dying, but
he ends up dying.
He ends up dying. He ends up getting his hand cut off and goes. But he comes from very little, farmer on,
farmer in the Dell.
Yeah, on a random
farmer.
planet, Tatooine, for those of you keeping score at home.
For the uninitiated.
And sorry, the cat is so distracting.
It's just not distracting to me. He just keeps going.
He's distracting to me. But can you resonate with a character like that? I see myself in that character, because I'm like, wow, I kind of want to go on an adventure of my own and have
the adventure of a lifetime.
Yes. I caught it. Probably no one else did, because it wasn't really on key.
Tangent. Some guy saw my Coldplay shirt, and you know how it has like the kaleidoscope logo on it. He saw my shirt. I was at FAU, and he's like, "Yo, man, I like your shirt." And I thought he was like, "Oh, I like Coldplay," and I was like, "Oh, thanks." And then he's like, "I just got this," and he shows me this tattoo, and it's like some like weird like hippie like logo like chakra thing, and I'm like, this guy is definitely not what I was thinking. It's just like, and then he said something. It literally sounded like he was speaking a different language, and then like, but it was like, it had the vibe of like, rock on, dude, but it was like hippie talk, and I was like, yeah.
Well, I wore my Coldplay shirt to FAU as well one time, and someone thought I was gay.
Oh,
so
well, I mean,
because I like Coldplay.
I don't really have that problem, but I have other problems with it.
Anyway, anything else that makes a good story good, in your opinion?
Let's see. So I already said nostalgia and stuff like that, and I was gonna say just like characters, but not maybe different than you would define it as, like you said, like relating to characters and like seeing one's self in characters or something like that. But I don't mean something like that. Like I wasn't listening. I mean something along those lines. Or for me, it's like just like really cool characters that I don't have to like even think about in that way, but where I'm just like, wow, they are so like I would think about them in the sense of like, yes, I would aspire to have that character quality.
Okay, so like, that's kind of related to what I was
like,
talking about,
like the selflessness or heroism, or just like the wisdom,
like in Lord of the Rings when Boromir sacrifices himself to save Merry and Pippin.
Spoiler alert, when
Boromir
he was played by Sean Bean, so if you didn't know he dies,
when your boy Boromir comes,
even the mightiest of warriors may be slain by one arrow.
Even the mightiest of your words aren't working tonight, are they? I've been there.
Boromir was pierced by many. Yeah.
So you see in that character,
and I'm like,
something that is
just
worthy,
something that is worthy,
something that is glorious,
something that shows quality.
All the callbacks.
And I see, or like the wisdom of King Theoden, and I'm like, or like even when he does, maybe even when he makes the wrong decision, now he's like, he's doing what he thinks is best for his people. I will not risk further bloodshed of my people. I will not risk open war. Open war is upon you. Whether you would risk it or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
Yeah, or,
In a lot of...
Bible stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was...
Jeez. Got me in the nipple.
Big cat. Yeah, he wasn't happy about that.
He was happy for like 3 minutes.
I was going to say stories that either are history or stories that are based on true events, based on history. So what I was going to say is that you and I really like lots of these war films from World War One, Two,
soon to be three
era. Some of these films, 1917, Dunkirk,
Hacksaw Ridge, I think.
Hacksaw Ridge, Saving Private Ryan.
Have you ever seen that on Sabbath?
I won't touch a gun on Sabbath.
I've seen bits of Private Ryan, but never the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then even just literally just documentaries about World War II.
Yeah, straight up documentaries, not Hollywood movies, but documentaries.
Military History Channel,
yes.
Documentaries.
Yes. So, stories that are based on true events. Obviously, the Hollywood ones are, it's Hollywood, but some of the documentaries are the true accounts of what happened. Stories like that, those are so...
They hit different.
Worthy of my attention and watching them, listening to them, reading them, because it's so fascinating to me.
I always think of that moment from Seven Brides for Seven Brothers when he opens up the Bible and he's like, "This is history. This really happened."
I don't remember that part.
You don't remember that? That's when he
No.
opens up the Bible and he's like telling them. It was Adam, I guess, who opened up the Bible and was explaining it.
Because the seven brothers are
Benjamin, Caleb, Daniel, Elijah, or Ephraim.
Ephraim, I think.
Yeah, Ephraim, frankincense.
Frankincense.
And that's it. There's only up to F. Frankincense is the youngest.
No, Gideon.
Oh yeah, Gideon's the youngest.
He only named 6.
I wasn't counting.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
G.
Gideon.
Gideon.
Yeah, Gideon's the...
Where's Gideon?
Where's Gideon? 7 Brides for 7 Brothers.
I don't like that movie.
I like
let
that.
me rephrase that. I like all of it except when they abduct the sisters, because if I was the father of one of those sisters, I literally would have just shot all of the brothers and probably put their heads on pikes.
Do you say their eggs?
I said their eggs. I meant their heads on pikes. As a monument, Luther as a tribute. Luther. As a tribute to all other brothers that would seek to marry my daughter in such a way. You want to do it any other way than the proper way? You're gonna get shot. Okay.
Good.
I have to reload my musket now.
Was that Alaska that they were in Seven Brides?
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, because I was thinking that reminded me of North to Alaska.
It might have been like the Yukon.
Yeah. All right.
So, which is the same shape as Idaho, but not to be confused with Idaho, because it's much bigger than Idaho.
Yukon King. Anyway, so stories that are true or based on true events.
True facts about the stories.
And whether that's the Hollywood portrayal of these things in some of these blockbuster movies, or if it's actual documentaries. I find those very fascinating because it's history. It actually happened.
Those are real people.
Or something similar to it actually happened. And yeah, they're real people. They really did those things in most cases.
Yeah.
So it hits differently. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hits differently. So is there anything else that you would say makes the story good, worthy?
For me, another just final thing is just like It's got to be quotable.
Quotable.
Doesn't have to be quotable, but that's like a big bonus when it's like really quotable. And like, you know, if there's a lot of memes about it, not that, you know, memes come like 10 years after the story. But like if it's like,
well, with the Mandalorian, they came like right away. Baby Yoda memes were popping off like you've never seen before.
But if it's quotable, then it's like, okay, like now I can bring it into my everyday conversation. I can bring it into my everyday life.
And people will look at you like you're crazy.
Like you're crazy, yeah. But I'm like, look.
But I won't.
It's like Sam said. Those are the stories that really matter.
Samwise Gamgee, mind you.
Where so much bad had happened and you wondered, how can the ending be happy after so much bad had happened? Those are the stories that really meant something. Even if you were too small to understand why.
Quotable, like you said.
Yeah.
Quotable.
What are you going to do?
Read a book.
Read a book, would you? There's books on that shelf right there.
Yes, I have many books up here.
Robin of the Hood, Tarzan, Star Trek, the complete thing.
I think we talked about that one time.
Herbert, pervert,
Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft.
Herbert the Pervert Lovecraft. The Swiss Family Robinson. Tesla. The Walking Dead Typhoon. Still haven't read that. The Engineering Beta Ook. Eddie would go. That's pretty epic, probably. Call of the Wild. The Cobra in the Barn. But not the Cobra you're thinking.
That's so... The title in there is so deceptive.
The Cobra in the Barn. It sounds like the girl with the dragon tattoo or something.
Wait, that's not about a girl with a dragon tattoo?
Yeah, it is, but it's like...
Save it. Yeah. Read the book.
Mornings with Tozer.
Anyway, yes. So I have many books, which I would like to read one day. I'm currently reading a book, and I'm trying to do it in record time.
Record time.
Instead of watching TV or YouTube.
Instead of TV.
I read a book.
Read a book.
Well said.